In this video we will talk about the thoracic aorta of the embryo. This is heart tube. This is truncus arteriosus. This is bulbus cordis. This is primitive ventricle. This is primitive atrium. This is sinus venosus. But we are going to focus on this aortic sac. And this is the dorsal aorta. We will focus on this part. That forms the arterial supply of the heart. Now, we are going to discuss the structure that we can see after cross-section of this heart tube. At this point, that's the aortic sac. So, after the cross-section, we know that this is ectoderm. This is endoderm. This is truncus arteriosus. This is the aortic sac. This is dorsal aorta. This is neural tube. This is notochord. These are pharyngeal arcs. Now, class, do you remember the concept of vasculogenesis?
Sir, vasculogenesis is the formation of new blood vessels from cells that were not blood vessels before.
Yes, you are right. So, applying this concept here, blood vessels arise from aortic sac through vasculogenesis. These are new blood vessels. Now, these blood vessels move from the aortic sac to pharyngeal arches, and then forming a connection with the dorsal aorta. So, this whole network of blood vessels are called as aortic arch. Any student who could repeat this?
Yes, sir. From this aortic sac, new blood vessels arise through vasculogenesis. It is the formation of new blood vessels from cells that were not blood vessels before. Now, these blood vessels move from the aortic sac to pharyngeal arches and then form a connection with the dorsal aorta. So, this whole network of blood vessels is called as aortic arch.
Good, Diana. Now, if we move this structure out, this structure will look like this. This is aortic sac. This is dorsal aorta. And these are aortic arches. This is descending aorta. Now class, I need you more attention. Let's have a detailed view of this structure. So, this is first aortic arch. This is second aortic arch. This is the third aortic arch. Then this is fourth aortic arch. And this is sixth aortic arch.
But, sir, what happened to the fifth aortic arch?
Well, that's a pretty good question. This arch will never form or will degenerate after the generation. So, there are total 5 aortic arches. The 5 aortic arches and paired dorsal aortae combine and develop into a number of vessels of the head and neck. So let's discuss them in detail. Aortic arch 1 becomes maxillary artery. Aortic arch 2 becomes stapedial artery. But it is very rare. Aortic arch 3 becomes common carotid artery and proximal part of the internal carotid artery. Then, there is the aortic arch 4. Now be specific about the aortic arch 4 of right side and the aortic arch 4 of left side. Aortic arch 4 of right side becomes the right subclavian artery. Aortic arch 4 of left side becomes aortic arch. Now, moving to aortic arch 6. Aortic arch 6 of right side gives right pulmonary artery, and aortic arch 6 of left side gives left pulmonary artery and ductus arteriosus. Now, let's see them. How these conversions occur. As we know that aortic arch 1 becomes maxillary artery. The maxillary artery is a branch of the external carotid artery and supplies many structures on the face. Aortic arch 2 becomes stapedial artery, but it is very rare. Now, if we talk about aortic arch 6. Aortic arch 6 of right side gives right pulmonary artery. Aortic arch 6 of left side gives left pulmonary artery. And connection between pulmonary trunk and aorta is ductus arteriosus. Aortic arch 4 of left side becomes aortic arch. Then, this aortic arch gives off many structure. There is brachiocephalic artery. Then aortic arch continues as the subclavian artery, which is given from right side of fourth aortic arch. Aortic arch continues as the descending aorta, which will move to abdominal area, and then into the limbs that will be discussed later. Now, aortic arch 3 becomes common carotid artery and proximal part of the internal carotid artery.
Sir, these are too tough to remember. Could you please simplify them for us? And explain the fate of each aortic arch separately, using different easy mnemonics.
Yes, class. I made this diagram, guessing they'll be helpful. This is dorsal aorta. This is ventral aorta. This is first arch. This is second arch. This is third arch. This is fourth arch. This is fifth arch. That will degenerate, so shown as dotted line. This is sixth arch. Now, let's memorize the fate of aortic arches using different mnemonics. As we know that aortic arch 1 becomes maxillary artery. So, first is max. Max 4, maxillary. I repeat. First is max. And max is 4, maxillary. And we also know that aortic arch 2 becomes stapedial artery. Second is stapedial. Now, moving to next mnemonic. So, mnemonic 4, third arch is that. We know that aortic arch 3 becomes common carotid artery and proximal part of the internal carotid artery. We are talking about third aortic arch. So, C, the third letter of the alphabet. C, 4, carotid. Moving to the next mnemonic, 4. Fourth, the aortic arch. We know that aortic arch 4 of right side becomes the right subclavian artery. And aortic arch 4 of left side becomes aortic arch. So, mnemonics 4, fourth arch are 4 and 4s. 4 rhymes with or. 4 aorta, while R in 4s. 4 right. and S in 4s. For subclavian. Moving to the next mnemonic. 4, 6th aortic arch. And we know that aortic arch 6 of right side gives right pulmonary artery. Aortic arch 6 of left side gives left pulmonary artery. And ductus arteriosus. Well, this is lame. But the digit 6 looks like lungs to me. So, right pulmonary artery and left pulmonary artery. And digit 6 also looks like small d to me. So, ductus arteriosus.
But sir, where is left subclavian artery?
Well, let me make one more mnemonic for left subclavian artery. This is 7th intersegmental artery. That derives the left subclavian artery. So, mnemonic for left subclavian artery is that 7 is S. So, that's all. Hope you had fun learning.
Sir, could you please show a diagram representing overall view of the embryo at this stage, so that we could have better understanding?
Yes, class, that's a good idea. We have studied up till now that this is heart. These are aortic arches. Now, the vitelline circulation is the flow of blood between the embryo and the yolk sac through a collection of vitelline arteries and vitelline veins that pass within the yolk sac. This is dorsal aorta. Now, the umbilical circulation is the flow of blood between the chorion of the placenta and the embryo. The umbilical arteries carry poorly oxygenated blood to the placenta, and the umbilical veins carry highly oxygenated blood initially to the heart of the embryo. Class, do not focus on venous system. In this video, we will only focus on arterial supply of the embryo. And we have studied thoracic aorta or aortic arches up till now. So, this was all. In our next video, we will talk about the abdominal aorta.
Discover a wealth of accurate, up-to-date medical videos for in-depth learning, anytime, anywhere. Elevate your medical expertise with sqadia.com.